In the cold basement, a naked woman is tightly bound to a chair. Cold water continually splashes on her to break her will. However, a more brutal punishment awaits her, just to force her to speak her life. Who would have thought that 2 months ago, this woman codenamed Red Sparrow was a hot Russian dancer? But fate is ruthless. During a performance, her energetic dance was unexpectedly captured by her. Although the treatment in the hospital made the Red Sparrow's leg look normal, continuing in the dance industry is undoubtedly a pipe dream. During his recovery, the only visitor was his uncle, who brought heavier news. The theater had found his replacement. This V's Hong Qie left his career and a source of income he can't afford. His mother's medical bills and a brother's apartment will soon be reclaimed. Faced with his niece's dilemma, uncle expressed his willingness to help her and left a document upon leaving. Hong Qie opened the file bag, took out the tape recorder, and pressed the play button. As a recording plays, he is shocked to discover that this accident was not a coincidence. Hong Qie opened the file bag, took out a tape recorder, and pressed the play button. The actress is the dancer's girlfriend. Due to the dazzling presence of the Red Sparrow, she couldn't advance, so they conspired and meticulously planned this whole thing. After the Red Sparrow fell, the actress smoothly took her place on stage. After learning the truth, Red Sparrow secretly went to the theater's bathroom and confronted the couple. Afterwards, his uncle helped him with the assault charge, but it was followed by more control over him. The uncle used this incident and the mother's medical expenses as leverage, forcing Hong Qie to approach a high-ranking official he was already interested in, requiring her to use seduction to obtain important information from him. Helpless for her and her mother's future, Hong Qie had to accept the mission. Following his uncle's instructions, he arrived at the designated hotel room and changed into the suit carefully chosen by his uncle. When he walked into the hotel lobby, successfully attracted the attention of the high official. However, what Hong never expected was that his uncle's task was to switch the official's phone when he was distracted. But just as he was carrying out the task as planned, a man in a helmet suddenly appeared behind the official and strangled him to death. It turns out the uncle didn't inform his niece. This was a deliberate assassination plot, and he was just a pawn in it. Uncle did not tell him the whole truth about the mission, as his true purpose was to use him to assist in the assassination. With things having come to this, the Red Sparrow is trapped. Having witnessed the murder, he has become an accomplice, and the organization will not allow outsiders to know these secrets. The only way out is to join his uncle's secret Russian spy unit. Under uncle's arrangement, Red Sparrow was sent to the National Intelligence Training School, starting a rigorous training life. The first lesson in school is to let all students abandon their pride. Your body belongs to the state. Since birth, the state has nourished you. Now the state asks for something in return. You must learn to sacrifice for a higher purpose. In the days that followed, Hong Qie's life was filled with harsh training and cruel tests. In addition to physical training and firearm skills, they are also taught how to observe and identify targets' desires, leveraging their own strengths to align with others and achieve the organization's goals. Every class and every assessment mercilessly wears down his will, making him gradually abandon his former principles. During school, a male student attempted to rob a cardinal, and he fought back with all his strength to protect himself. However, he was shocked that the academy did not punish the student, but questioned him why he did not comply with the other party's demands. And your honor is worth defining Russia as a producing city. Under the general's orders, Hong Qie was brought back to class and was commanded to publicly fulfill the desire of that student. This class ruthlessly destroyed his last bit of self-esteem, completely transforming him into a tool obedient to the organization. He enjoys humiliation, becoming indifferent and resilient in this harsh environment. With exceptional results, Hong Qie completed their studies and officially became a qualified professional. After graduation, Ji's uncle arranged a new mission for him to go to the US to approach a State Department official and gain their trust to obtain information on a traitor hidden within the organization. After arriving in the United States, Hong Qie met with the task's direct supervisor and began to understand the details of the mission objectives. The document shows that the target is a swimming pool member with a particular preference for blonde beauties. To carry out the mission, Hong Qie dyed her hair bright blonde and became a member of that swimming pool. She is waiting for the right moment to put on her swimsuit and quietly appear in the target's line of sight. As she expected, the man named Jack quickly noticed her presence. When Hong Qie left the swimming pool, Jack called out to him, clearly attracted by his beauty. He took the initiative to invite him to dinner, but Hong Qie was already ready to use a teasing strategy and wouldn't easily agree. However, the next day when he returned to the swimming pool, Jack was nowhere to be found. Promptel learned from the administrator that his membership card was accidentally lost. He keenly realized that this was no coincidence. It was Jack. From their first meeting, doubts arose about him. She discreetly took his membership card for investigation. Ultimately, Jack saw through the Red Sparrow's disguise. At a diplomatic banquet, they met again, sharing a silent understanding, and arranged a dinner meeting at a restaurant. Just as Honke was about to leave the banquet, he unexpectedly spotted his roommate, also an agent, quietly approaching a US official, suspecting his roommate might be involved in improper doings. Red Sparrow returned to the dorm early that night and quietly entered her roommate's room to search for evidence. After a thorough search, he discovered hidden information in the doorframe's secret compartment. The American official was actually the chief of staff for the senator, and his roommate had reached an agreement to sell classified information on the missile defense system for $250,000. A few days later, Honke's uncle came to the US to specifically check on the progress of the mission. To ease Uncle's suspicions, Honke informed him about her roommate's private contact with American officials. When Uncle Son left, Honke took the opportunity to secretly check the uncle's passbook information. However, that night, when Honke returned to the dorm, she found her roommate had already been attacked by an uncle. The hired killer was sent to silence him because the organization couldn't tolerate subordinates withholding information, and the task of obtaining intelligence from the chief of staff fell to Honke. To break free from the organization and his uncle's control, he went to Jack's house that night. After negotiations, Honke agreed to work for the US government, and Jack promised to ensure her safety, unlike the organization that forced Honke to sell her body. After reaching an agreement, in order to prove his sincerity, Red Sparrow informed Jack about his roommate's attempt to sell missile defense system intelligence. Jack's boss used advanced lie detector equipment to ensure his intentions were genuine. After confirming there were no issues with Honke's statement, Jack's supervisor approved the collaboration and paid him $250,000 as an initial reward. Before this operation, Honke carefully contacted a bank employee to secretly transfer $250,000, which Jack had paid last time, into his uncle's account, ensuring no traces were left. Then, he went to the designated hotel, as instructed by his uncle to meet with the American Chief of Staff. Use for funding from the organization enabled Honke to successfully acquire the disk containing the missile defense system, using the identification as an excuse. Honke entered the bedroom alone with the disk and quickly completed the swap operation previously agreed upon with Jack. After successfully obtaining the intelligence, he and his boss left the hotel with Jimmy, and quietly headed back to the city. However, as the Chief of Staff left the hotel, he sensed something was off. He noticed a few American agents nearby monitoring him, clearly aware of his movements. In a panic, he hurriedly threw the payment from Honke into the trash, trying to escape quickly, but accidentally died in a car accident while fleeing. This sudden accident caught the eyes of the organization's monitors, raising doubts about Honke's loyalty. Meanwhile, Jack's boss received news and realized the plan American leaked. When Jack rushed to the airport to meet the Red Sparrow, he found that he had already been taken by the organization and was out of control of the American agents. Upon returning to the organization's headquarters in Russia, Honke faced brutal interrogation. Although he insists he knows nothing about the incident, the interrogators remain unfazed, believe his defense, think he definitely concealed important information. Just as he faced his execution, his uncle suddenly appears. Honke stated that he has gained the trust of the Americans, and only one step remains to achieve the mission's success. After some discussions, the organization's leadership ultimately decided to give him a chance. After returning to America, Honke found Jack immediately and brought him back to her apartment. However, that night, when the Red Sparrow woke up at midnight, she found Jack was gone. He opened the door and stepped into the living room, a tightening sensation in his heart at what lay before him. Jack is restrained in a chair by the killer sent by his uncle, with limbs tightly secured to the table legs. It seems anticipated. The Red Sparrow coordinated with the assassin's moves to ensure Jack could not escape. The killer took out a set of interrogation tools from his backpack, among which was a skinning tool that could inflict the most harm. To extract the name of the spy hidden in the organization from Jack, the killer ruthlessly began to apply torture. Red Sparrow watched as the killer tortured Jack. However, just when the killer let his guard down, Red Sparrow suddenly went berserk and freed Jack. The two shared an unspoken understanding, cooperating and utilizing the surrounding environment along with their skills. They successfully eliminated the assassin. The two injured were quickly sent to the hospital for treatment. While they were receiving treatment, a senior member of the organization suddenly appeared at the bedside of Honke. The Red Sparrow was about to explain everything, but the other party suddenly revealed his true identity as the mole the organization was searching for. This man revealed that he was aware he would be discovered eventually, so he suggested that Honke proactively confess to the organization to gain trust and ultimately take his position. After he left, Honke realized the rare opportunity and voluntarily returned to the apartment to confess to the police. He then contacted the head of the spy organization through the Russian embassy and informed them of the traitor's name over the phone. After negotiations between both governments, the organization decided to use this spy to exchange for the freedom of the Red Sparrow. When taken to the airport, Jack appeared extremely disappointed, believing that the Red Sparrow had been deceiving him, filled with doubt and pain. However, when the Russian agents arrived and removed the traitor's mask, Jack was shocked to find that the person brought in was actually Uncle Red Sparrow. "What is happening?" It turns out that the spy living with the Red Sparrow is his uncle. He secretly took a cup with Jack's fingerprints from Jack's home and placed it at his uncle's residence, then transferred the $250,000 Jack gave him into his uncle's account. These two leads revealed the truth after being checked by the head of the Russian Federal Security Service. Uncle realized he had no way to escape. He understood the organization would not tolerate internal traitors. As the organization's trial against him was approaching, gunfire erupted and his uncle collapsed, losing his life. Meanwhile, the Red Sparrow brought back to Russia received a hero's treatment. He not only protected the real spy, but, more importantly, became a mole planted by the US government in Russia. The Red Sparrow's position in the organization has solidified, and his identity and tasks have grown more complex. At this point, the Red Sparrow is no longer the girl chasing her downstreams, but an agent caught in conspiracies and power struggles. With a future full of unpredictable dangers and challenges,